Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to share another topic, which is the economy in a global age. So without wasting more time, let's begin. Okay, so economy issues have long been at the center of ideological and political debate. As we know, for much of the 19th and 20th century, the core battleground in politics was the contest between two rival economic models, capitalism and second one is socialism. This nevertheless culminated in the victory of the capitalism over socialism, registered in particular through the collapse of communism. Now we are going to understanding the concepts of capitalism and neoliberalism. See, the origins of capitalism can be traced back to 17th century and 18th century Europe, developing in predominantly feudal societies. So feudalism was characterized by agrarian based production geared to the needs of landed estates, fixed social hierarchies and rigid patterns of obligation and duties. So, capitalist practices initially took root in the form of commercial agriculture that was oriented towards the market and increasingly relied on waged labor instead of bonded serf. So, the market mechanism, the heart of the emerging capitalist system, certainly intensified pressure for technological innovation and brought about a substantial expansion in productive capacity. This was reflected in the agriculture revolution, which saw the enclosure of overgrazed common land and the increased use of fertilizers and scientific methods of production. So, nevertheless, the most significant development in the history of capitalism came with the Industrial Revolution, which developed from the mid 18th century onwards, first in the UK but soon in the USA and across much of Europe. Industrialization entirely transformed societies through the advent of mechanized and often factory based forms of production. So, the increasing use of the division of labor and the gradual shift of populations from the land to the expanding towns and cities. So, in the process, industrialization massively expanded the productive capacity of capitalism, enabling industrial capitalism to emerge by the mid 19th century as the dominant socio-economic system worldwide. So, the development of industrial capitalism also marked a key phase in the evolution of the world economy, in that it resulted in the export of capital from Europe to North America, South America, and Asia, also leading to a sharpening of the division of labor between states and between different regions of the world. So, in these ways, as discussed later, the foundations of modern global capitalism were laid during the late 19th century. So, however, capitalism does not constitute just a single socio-economic form, but a variety of social economic forms. Uh, it is possible to identify three type of capitalist system. First, enterprise capitalism. Second, social capitalism. Third one is state capitalism. We'll discuss one by one. First, enterprise capitalism. See, enterprise capitalism is widely seen, particularly in the Anglo American world, as pure capitalism, that is, as an ideal towards which other capitalisms are inevitably drawn. The home of enterprise capitalism is the USA, and despite its early post 1945 fluctuation with the key Keynesian social democracy, the UK. Nevertheless, the principles of enterprise capitalism have been extended far beyond the Anglo-American world through the impact of economic globalization, which has gone hand in hand with the advance of marketization. Enterprise capitalism is based on the ideas of classical economists such as Adam Smith and David Ricardo, updated in the form of neoliberalism by modern theorists such as the Austrian economist and political philosopher Friedrich von Hayek and Milton Friedman. Its central feature is faith in the untrammeled workings of market competition, born out of the belief that the market is a self-regulating mechanism. Okay, this idea is expressed in Adam Smith's famous words. It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer of the or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own interest in the USA. Such free market principles have helped to keep public ownership to a minimum and ensure that welfare provision operates as little more than a safety net. So, US businesses are typically profit driven, and a premium is placed on high productivity and labor flexibility. Trade unions are usually weak, reflecting the fear that strong labor organizations are an obstacle to profit maximization. The emphasis on growth and enterprise of this form of capitalism stems in part from the fact that productive wealth is owned largely by financial institutions. Okay, so the undoubted economic power of the USA bears testaments to the vigor of the enterprise. Okay, now, despite clear evidence of relative economic decline, whereas the USA accounted for half of the world's manufacturing output in 1945, this had fallen to less than one fifth by 2007. So, the average productivity of the USA is still higher than Germany's or Japan. The USA clearly enjoys natural advantages that enable it to benefit from the application of market principles, notably a continent wide domestic market, a wealth of natural resources, and a rigidly individualist popular culture seen as a frontier ideology. So, the enterprise capitalism also has serious disadvantages. However, perhaps the most significant of these is the tendency towards wide material inequalities and social fragmentation, right? This is demonstrated in the USA by levels of absolute poverty that are not found, for example, in Europe, and in the growth of a poorly educated and socially dependent underclass. Okay, second one is social capitalism. See, social capitalism refers to a form of capitalism that took root in much of Central and Western Europe. So, Germany is its natural home, but the principles of social capitalism were adopted in various forms in Austria. ठीक है, you need to remember this, right? The Benelux countries, Sweden, France, and much of Scandinavia, this economic form drew heavily on the flexible and pragmatic ideas of economists such as Frederick List, an influential theorist of economic nationalism. So, the central theme of this capitalist model is the idea of a social market, that is, an attempt to marry the disciplines of market competition with the need of social cohesion and solidarity. So, this is reflected in an emphasis on long term investment rather than short term profitability. Business organization in what has been Rhine Alpine capitalism also differs from Anglo American capitalism in that it is based on social partnership. So, trade unions enjoy representation through works councils and participate in annual rounds of wage negotiation that are usually industry wide. So, this relationship is underpinned by comprehensive and well funded welfare provisions that provide workers and other vulnerable groups with social guarantees. So, the strength of social capitalism were clearly demonstrated by the economic miracle that transformed war-torn Germany into Europe's leading economic power by the 1960s. High and stable levels of capital investment, together with a strong emphasis on education and training, particularly in vocational and craft skills, enabled Germany to achieve the highest levels of productivity in Europe. So, however, the virtues of social capitalism are by no means universally accepted. One of its drawbacks is that because it places a heavy stress on consultation and negotiation and consensus, it tends to lead to inflexibility and makes it difficult for businesses to adapt to market conditions. For example, economic globalization and intensified competition from East Asia, Latin America, and elsewhere. So further strains are imposed by the relatively high level of social expenditure required to maintain high quality welfare provisions. These push up taxes and so burden both employers and employees, whereas supporters of social capitalism insist that the social and the market are intrinsically linked. Critics argue that social capitalism is nothing more than a contradiction in terms. Okay. Now, third one is state capitalism. See, the term state capitalism has been defined in a number of ways. For instance, Trotskyites used it to highlight the tendency of the Soviet Union under Stalin to use its control of productive power to oppress the working class in a manner similar to capitalist society. However, in its modern usage, state capitalism is what more commonly used to describe capitalist economy in which the state plays a crucial directive role. These are often non-liberal capitalist societies. So that's all for today. I hope you understand all the points clearly. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask any question to me. If you like this video, hit the like button, do subscribe my channel, and do share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching this video, friends. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.